All right, we're bringing you some breaking news now. The Palestinian Authority has suspended Al Jazeera from broadcasting in the occupied West Bank. The PA is accusing Al Jazeera of broadcasting what it calls provocative material and reports that it says are misleading. The decision will affect Al Jazeera's offices and its employees working in the occupied West Bank. This comes just over 2 months after Israeli soldiers raided Al Jazeera's occupied West Bank bureau in Ramallah and shut it down. All right, Hamdah Salhut joins us on the phone now from the Jordanian capital, Amman, because the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from reporting there. Hamdah, tell us, what more do you know about all this?
Well, Mohammed, the Palestinian Authority has released a statement saying that it did decide to stop broadcasting and freeze all of Al Jazeera's channel operations. They say that the decision came after, quote, Al Jazeera insisted on broadcasting incitement materials and reports that they say were misleading. However, it's important to note that the Palestinian Authority previously banned Al Jazeera from reporting in Jenin back on December 24th. And that is because of the coverage on the Palestinian Authority raids on resistance fighters in the occupied West Bank. The PA has been conducting its own raids that are separate from Israeli forces. We're used to the Israeli military conducting raids on armed Palestinian fighters in the West Bank, but the Palestinian Authority has stepped up those raids in the last 4 weeks. And because journalists have been reporting on that, the Palestinian Authority decided to take measures of its own. It's important to note that the Palestinian Authority, though, is not so popular amongst the people that it is supposed to govern. And these crackdowns in places like Jenin have killed several Palestinians, and just a few days ago actually killing one Palestinian woman who was a journalist while she was walking in Jenin.
And Hamdah, we know that on December 24th, the Al Jazeera media network put out a statement condemning what they called the incitement campaign initiated by Fatah in the West Bank against Al Jazeera and its journalists. They said particularly against Al Jazeera correspondent Mohammed Atrash for covering the clashes between Palestinian National Security Forces and Palestinian resistance fighters in Jenin. How much does all this perhaps tie into that and the fact that this coverage has been ongoing, and it has been so controversial that these raids that have been conducted by the PA in Jenin have been ongoing as well?
Well, look, the job of a journalist is to report the facts, the truth on the ground, and to hold leadership accountable when they need to be held accountable. And the Palestinian Authority, in this case, did not want any sort of coverage on the raids that it was conducting across the occupied West Bank. Al Jazeera, of course, denounced the campaigns of incitement that the Palestinian Authority was broadcasting through official channels, through members of its government. But nonetheless, the coverage continued on the raids and the Palestinians who were killed as a result of the Palestinian Authority. So the PA is taking this measure and they're saying that it's temporary. But of course, Al Jazeera is now not so unfamiliar with being banned. It happened back in May when the Israeli government banned Al Jazeera from reporting in Israel. It happened in the occupied West Bank when the Israeli military had banned the operations in the occupied West Bank, and then that ban was not renewed. But the Palestinian Authority decided to take matters into their own hands and ban the network entirely for its coverage and truth-telling about the facts on the ground when it came to the PA's raids, which are widely unpopular amongst the Palestinian people living in the occupied West Bank who are already going through so much. To begin with life under occupation, but also a dire economic situation that has just been worsened in the last 14 months since Israel's war on Gaza began.
All right, that's Hamdah Salhut on the phone for us from Amman in Jordan. Thanks for breaking that all down for us, Hamdah. We'll come back to you for more details as they emerge in the hours to come. Mustafa Barghouti is the Secretary General of the Palestinian National Initiative. That's a political party. He joins me now from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Mustafa, good to have you with us. We've spoken with you often over the course of the last several months about the fact that Israel shut down Al Jazeera's bureau first in occupied East Jerusalem and throughout Israel. And then in the last few months, you had the Israelis also shut down the operation in the West Bank, in the occupied West Bank. Let me ask you specifically about this. Now we have the news that the Palestinian Authority has suspended Al Jazeera from broadcasting in the occupied West Bank. Your response to that, please.
Well, we are astonished at this decision. In the beginning, I thought it was not correct and that it was false news. But then I saw the statement just minutes ago of the Palestinian Authority, and I think it's a big mistake. And this decision should be reversed as soon as possible. If there are issues that...
Mustafa, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying that if the Palestinian Authority, which of course I don't represent the Palestinian Authority, we are in opposition, but if the Palestinian Authority has an issue with Al Jazeera, it should discuss it with Al Jazeera, not ban Al Jazeera. I think this is a wrong decision, especially in the light of the fact that Al Jazeera, whether we are talking about the English channel or the Arabic channels, has been in the avant-garde in exposing the crimes against the Palestinian people and continues to be so, especially in covering the genocide that is taking place in Gaza and the crimes that are committed by the Israeli occupation against the Palestinian people and in promoting the Palestinian cause in general. But more than that, this is an issue of freedom of expression, an issue of freedom of press, an issue of freedom of media. And I think this is a mistake, one of the many mistakes that are taking place, which do not help or will not help actually anybody, including the Palestinian Authority. I think it's like a self-hurting act. And that's why I do hope that they will reverse this decision as quickly as possible, because it doesn't serve the interest of the Palestinian people.
Mustafa, from your perspective, is this simply a result of the fact that Al Jazeera has been covering those very controversial raids that the PA has been conducting in Jenin? Is that what's at the heart of all of this? Because the PA is saying that they're accusing Al Jazeera of broadcasting what it calls provocative material and reports that it says are misleading. You also mentioned that you hope this is reversed. Do you think that the decision will be reversed?
I do hope so. I mean, by the way, I was the Minister of Information who gave the permit to Al Jazeera to function in Palestine. And I don't know what are the issues that Al Jazeera is violating now, as they claim. But again, the solution to that would be dialogue with Al Jazeera Bureau, with the Al Jazeera representative, discussing the matter and not just shutting it off and declaring that it is banned. I think this is, again, a mistake. But the issue is not just about Jenin. I think it's wider than that. And there are other several decisions that have been taken by some governors suppressing the freedom of expression on social media. This is a very dangerous path. And we had yesterday a very important meeting of many political Palestinian forces, including 5 political forces that are members of the PLO, and including representatives of civil society and representatives of human rights organizations. And we said we will continue the effort and work to stop what's happening in Jenin, to stop this confrontation, because there is no security solution to this matter. This has to be resolved in a process of dialogue. But at the end of the day, all these phenomena that we see are expressions of the continuation of internal Palestinian division and the lack of Palestinian unified leadership and the lack of a unified leadership that agrees on a unified strategy. What we need now is unity. What we need now is every voice, every media voice in the world, especially Al Jazeera, to be on our side in confronting very dangerous risks, including the risk of annexation of the West Bank, the risk of the genocide that is taking place in Gaza, the ethnic cleansing that is happening in the north of Gaza. And at the end of the day, the Israeli occupation is targeting everybody, including Fatah and Hamas and us and everybody else. So our approach should be an approach of unity, encouraging freedom of expression, because at the end of the day, the freedom of expression will only support the struggle against occupation.
All right, Mustafa Barghouti joining us live there from Ramallah in the occupied West Bank. Thanks so much for breaking that all down for us. We'll get back to you in the hours ahead as well.
Thank you.